Good morning, everyone. It's time for another lesson. Before I start, I just want to say thanks to all of you guys who sent me what you did on the last lesson. You did great work. It's great to see you guys enjoying the lessons and being able to keep yourselves busy. Okay, so today's lesson is a math lesson. And for this lesson, I want you to imagine that I'm doing something that I really like to do a lot, which is plant a garden. So I'm going to be planting a garden. And when I plant my garden, I like my garden to be nice and organized. When I put plants in my garden, I don't just put them all over the place like this. Some of them close together, some of them far apart. No way. That is not how I like to do it. When I plant my garden, I like it to be nice, straight rows like this, where everything is neat and organized. So, if you imagine in my garden, if I was only going to plant one plant in my garden, which would be kind of a silly garden, then I'd just have one plant, just like that. If I had two plants, I could plant them in a nice little row like this. If I had three plants, I could plant them like this, or I could plant them like this. But I don't like that one right there because it's crooked. I like my garden to have everything in nice, straight rows like this. So if I had three plants, I would have to do it like this. If I had two plants, I'd have them nice and straight like this. Now, however, if I had four plants in my garden, I have a couple of choices now. I could do it like this, in a row, like that. Or I could make a little box out of them like this. Those are both nice, organized ways to do my plants. What I would never do with my four plants is do them like this, because that's crooked. I don't like that. I want them to make a nice rectangle. So if I had just one plant in my garden, there's just one way to do it. It would look like that. If I had two plants in my garden, they'd be in a nice straight line like this. If I had three plants in my garden, they'd be in a straight line like that. But if I had four, I could either do them in a nice straight line like that, or I could do them in a nice organized box like that, where I have a little rectangle there. So if I was to show you all that information on the table, I could show you there's one way to do it with one, there's one way to do it with two, one way to do it with three, but there's two ways to get a nice organized garden with four, like that. Now with five, I'm stuck again. It's easy to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. But if I want to make two rows, I'm stuck. If I put 3 in one row, I can only put 2 in the next row, and then I have this terrible gap right there. If I put 2 in the row, I can only put 3 in the next row, and I'm left with that terrible gap there. If I put 4 in a row, then I just have 1 all by itself, which is not okay. I need to have a nice organized garden. So again, with 5 there's only one way to do it. But with 6, with 6 I could do all in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or I could do like this. 2 rows of 3 like that. So there's 2 ways of doing it with 6 also. And if I was to try 7, I'm stuck again. With 7, there's only one way to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anything else I try, if I try to put 4 up here, I can only fit 3 down there, and I just can't make a nice little rectangle with 7. But with 8, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I get 2 nice, neat rows like that. With 9, it gets really cool. With 9, I can actually do this. Make a nice square out of it. It's a little crooked there, but you can see you can get 3 rows of 3 with 9, which is pretty cool. And with 10, there's another way to do it too, with 2 rows of 5 like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I could basically what I've learned here is with my garden, there's only one way to do it with 1. There's only one nice neat row with 2, one nice neat row with 3. With 4, there's 2 different ways. I can make one straight line, or I can make a little box. With 5, I can only make a straight line. With 6, there were 2 ways of doing it, a straight line with all 6, or 2 lines of 3. With 7, I can only do a straight line. With 8, I could do 2 rows of 4, or I could do the long straight line. With 9, I could either do a long straight line of 9, or I could do a cool box with 3 rows of 3. And with 10, I could do 2 rows of 5, or I could do the long straight line of 10. So, here is what you need to do. You need to figure out what we could do for 11, or 12, or 13, or 14, or 15, or 16, or 17, or 18, or 19, or 20. So all the numbers, 11 all the way through to 20, figure out how many different ways I could do the garden. Now I was drawing on the screen here, but one good way to do it would be to get some things that are all the same, like pennies. You could get 11 pennies and put the 11 pennies in different positions and see, can I make any nice straight rows with these? Or can I only make one long row of 11? And then get another penny and try to figure out with 12. And write down what you figure out, or draw what you figure out to show how you did it. Alright, I'm going to give you some clues so you know what you're looking for. In those numbers, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, there are 4 of the numbers in there that the only way to do it is one long straight line. There's no way to do it with 2 rows. There's no way to do it with 3 rows. It's just a long straight line. Those numbers that you can only make one long straight line for your garden are called prime numbers, because there's no other way to do them except a long straight line. There's 2 numbers in there that there are 3 different ways of doing it. There's the long straight line, plus there's 2 other ways of making the garden that end up with nice straight rows. And then there's also 1 number in there that has that makes a perfect square. There's only 1 number in those numbers that'll make a perfect square with the same number of rows and the same number of columns. All right, so that's oh, and if you like this a lot, you can keep going. You can go try 21, try 22, try 23, keep going, try 24. That's a good one. 36 is a really good one. Try as many as you can. You'll find some more that are prime, that you can only make one long straight row and that's it. You'll find some others that are squares. You'll find some that there's 4 ways of doing it, 5 ways of doing it. There's a lot of cool things that you'll discover in there. Please, if you find a way to share what you did with me, please show me so I can see your great work. And I'm going to put links below the video to the other lessons that I'm doing. So if you missed any of those lessons or you want to go back and see them again, you can click on those links and see them. All right, enjoy!